Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty disturbing transformation of Dean from Bežet za ledovým sluncem. We're going to trace his journey from a guy defined by his desperate need for freedom to someone trapped in a war against his own body. So, how does a captor become a protector? And what happens when your own instincts start to side with your cage? Let's get into it.
To really get who Dean is, you have to start right here. He's in the middle of a violent robbery. There's a gun just a few feet away, and his very first thought isn't just fear, it's escape. That one instinct says it all. He has this relentless drive to control his own life. This is our baseline. This is Dean before everything goes sideways.
So we're going to track his story through 5 key stages. First, we'll look at the defiant Omega, who he was at the start. Then we'll see him get thrown into a world of violence, which sparks a desperate fight for control. From there, he starts negotiating a new life, which leads us right into the messy, confusing territory of a captive's complicated heart.
All right, so first up, the defiant Omega. Before his whole world gets turned upside down, Dean is a man completely defined by a biological reality he never, ever chose, and one he absolutely resents. You know, in the Omegaverse, where this story is set, the most important thing about Dean is his biology. Being a male Omega isn't just some trait. It's a label that makes him both incredibly rare and incredibly vulnerable. It basically puts him in a category that powerful alphas see as a prize to be won. And just how rare are we talking? Well, this number really puts it into perspective. Only 6%. That's not just a statistic. For Dean, it's like having a giant target on his back. It explains why he's always on guard, always aware that his very nature makes him something to be claimed. And this quote, this tells you exactly how he feels about being so special. There's zero pride here. It's just pure biting sarcasm. This is his personality in a nutshell, defiant, cynical, and just so angry about a fate that was literally coded into his DNA. He doesn't see a gift, he sees a curse.
That anger really sets the stage for our second chapter, a world of violence. This is the turning point, where Dean's fight for a normal life smashes head-on into a world with its own brutal set of rules, the world of the Russian Bratva.
Now, to understand the world Dean gets dragged into, you gotta know the language. The word Batyushka isn't just a title for Castile, the alpha who takes him. It means he has absolute patriarchal authority. He's the little father, and whatever he says, goes. That one word tells you everything you need to know about the power dynamic Dean's about to face.
So, for a guy whose main goal in life is to escape, this new world can only mean one thing. It's not a negotiation, it's not an invitation. From the second he enters it, it is a capture. Everything he's fought so hard against is about to become his new reality.
And this is how it happens. Just 2 simple words from the alpha. Castile. There's no debate. It's an order. It's an assertion of ownership. The moment these words are spoken over the phone, Dean's life as a free man is just over. He's now an object to be delivered. Okay, so now we get to the real heart of Dean's initial struggle. Yes, he's a captive, but the real prison is actually inside of him. It's this brutal war between his conscious, defiant mind and the biological instincts that come with being an Omega. And this just illustrates that internal war so perfectly. Look at the contrast here. On the one hand, his words are dripping with sarcasm, totally mocking Castile's power. But his body completely betrays him. Without a single conscious thought, he makes the classic Omega gesture of submission, exposing his neck. His mind is screaming fight, but his biology is screaming submit. Eventually, Castile gives him this choice. And let's be real, it's no choice at all, is it? He can choose death, he can choose to be owned by Castile personally, or he can choose to be owned by the entire Bratva. Every single path leads to the exact same place, the total loss of his freedom and his old life. It's a perfect trap, designed to shatter his will.
So what do you do when you're faced with an impossible situation? You adapt. This next phase is all about how Dean starts to navigate his captivity, finding these small ways to survive, and even negotiate the terms of this new life he never, ever asked for. This line from Castile's guard is so telling. The language is deliberately twisted. Protection sounds like a good thing, like care, but the warning that comes right after it reveals the truth. It's a gilded cage.
Protection and imprisonment are exactly the same thing here. He's being kept safe, and he's being kept, period. The way their text messages evolve is just a fantastic way to see this change. It starts with Dean's blunt, angry accusations, which Castile just ignores. But over time, it shifts to this, just mundane, casual talk about breakfast and traffic. This isn't freedom, not by a long shot, but it is a kind of negotiation, building this strange, almost normal connection within the walls of his prison. And Castile is fueling all of this with a very deliberate strategy. He's not just some brute. First, he takes care of Dean's basic needs: food, a safe place to live. Then, he starts removing threats, like a rival alpha at Dean's school. And finally, he offers gifts, like a new phone. Every single step is calculated to blur the lines, making him seem less like a captor and more like a provider, or a protector. And this brings us to the final and I think most fascinating stage of Dean's journey. At this point, the lines are completely blurred. So what happens when survival instincts, biological programming, and maybe even genuine moments of connection all get thrown into a blender together? This is where it gets really complicated, because it's not just about what his mind wants anymore. A deep, instinctual part of him, his inner omega, is actually starting to respond positively to all this possessiveness. When he smells the alpha's scent on a shirt, a part of him purrs. It's a biological reaction that is in total conflict with his conscious desire for freedom. This chart really helps visualize that internal fight, doesn't it? His rational mind, the part that remembers being kidnapped, the part that craves freedom, is still there, full of fear and resentment, but it's clearly being overpowered by his omega instinct, which is all about safety, stability, and the protection that this powerful alpha provides. The balance has definitely shifted. And Dean is so aware that this terrifying shift is happening inside him. You can just hear the confusion and denial in his own thoughts. He's feeling something, a sense of safety, of connection, of rightness, but his logical brain immediately rejects it. It can't be real love. It's just the coping mechanism, it's Stockholm Syndrome, it's all that crap. He's literally fighting to convince himself that what he's feeling isn't real.
And this is what we're left with. The ultimate question of Dean's journey. What is the real nature of this bond? Is it just unwilling submission? Is it a smart strategy for survival? Or could it be something real that somehow managed to grow in the most toxic soil you can imagine? The story forces us to ask a really difficult question. In a world dictated by instinct, how much room is there really for choice?